Hello, everybody. Afro X here. Um, I just wanted to say, I know I said I was going on vacation, um, but a after reading today's One Piece chapter, there was no way that I could skip this. The news in this chapter is just too big to ignore. Um, so without further ado, let us get into chapter 1066 of One Piece. This is big, folks. This is very, very big. Um, so, One Piece chapter 1066. It is titled The Will of Ohara. And especially after seeing the title of this chapter, I already knew it was going to be a big lore drop. We've been waiting on Ohara lore for forever. Um, so starting off on the cover page, kind of seems like we're back to following the Germa 66 and Sanji's brothers, because we're looking it's kind of funny because what Oda did was it's chapter 1066 and he had the cover page be the Germa floating ship um castle thing, which has 66 all over it. So it says Germa 66's Cold-Blooded Voyage, Volume 23, returning to Germa with company, which likely means that we are now back to following Ichiji and Reiju and and Yonji and Niji, and they are coming back to Germa with Caesar Clown. So we get a small note from Oda saying he got a new gas barbecue grill recently. He's learning to cook meat via convection. Can't wait till everyone gets to try it. Man, Oda, I would love to try anything that you are cooking on a grill. That sounds absolutely amazing. All right, so getting into the chapter, so Vegapunk has just explained to Frankie, Usopp, Robin, Sanji, yes, and Sanji, that all of this futuristic technology actually existed in the past. So pretty much they get right into it. Vegapunk is like, I knew a passionate archaeologist who was willing to risk his life to shed light on a certain ancient kingdom. And Robin says, "Are you saying that machinery was created during the Void Century?" And I love how Vegapunk responds here because he says, "You tell me." So for anyone who doesn't know, in One Piece, the Void Century was a century about 900 years ago, and it was a gap where nobody knows what happened during the 100 years before 900 years ago. And that's why it is called the Void Century, because no one has any information on what happened then. So anyways, Vegapunk pretty much confirms what we've all been theorizing, which is that the history of the Void Century is the history of the a forgotten advanced kingdom fighting against the alliance of 20 nations because it believed it had gotten too powerful. And when the 20 nations prevailed, they went on to become the world government. And so this new alliance of 20 nations is now made sure that the ideas of the ancient kingdom wouldn't live on. They erased every trace of it from history. This shocks Nami and Usopp, and Sanji. Frankie's pretty psyched by it, saying, "What an epic and romantic tale." And Sanji says, "You mean everyone who knows about this?" And Vegapunk says, "Gets eliminated? Indeed. Then why did you tell us? I can't unhear it." So pretty much anyone who knows this information, that the Void Century was what is it, was the war between the 20 nations and the Advanced Kingdom. Anyone who knows this has a target on their back from the world government. Like you will be eliminated if you know this information. So this is officially, like, this is where Oda is saying, hey, the Straw Hats now are not only enemies of the rival pirates of the One Piece, but they are a dead-on target for the world government now that they know this information. But Vegapunk Shaka keeps saying that this is conjecture and stuff like that. But he also says, wouldn't the government's actions be tantamount to a confirmation of this conjecture? So Robin's like, why are you asking about this? The scholars did devise a theory after all their extensive research, but someone as high up in the government as you would know about it already. And he's just like, I don't know anything. I'm kept in the dark like everybody else. They just make me build their weapons for them. And even bringing up the topic would result in immediately being killed. Or immediate erasure, as he says, which is big. So then Robin's like, if that's true, how do you know they were researching that kingdom? All the books and material on Ohara, and they were, and Vegapunk Shaka cuts him off again, and which he apparently likes to do, and says, the will of Ohara lives on. So here we go back into Robin's backstory. Vegapunk saying, I'm so sorry about my phone. There's people in Discord just blowing up my phone right now, and I'm gonna put it on Do Not Disturb. So Vegapunk says, in a single night, Ohara, the island renowned for its love of knowledge, was wiped out, save for one little girl. Well, that little girl is standing before you right now. Nico Robin. Vegapunk says, a few months after the incident, I paid my visit of my own to the scorched earth of Ohara, because before it was destroyed, he had known Professor Clover from there, who was the lead archaeologist. He says, pretty much, Professor Clover, he was a knowledge pirate. He went around trying to find relevant texts and secrets, like, all over the world. The Marines incarcerated him on at least 10 occasions, and he was known as the world's most famous archaeologist. It's actually interesting because this is kind of right here is kind of Robin's dream coming true. Like, she finally gets to learn more about Ohara. Anyways, Vegapunk says that he went there other times, over the time, countless scholars were drawn to Professor Clover, and they flocked to him, all to Ohara. And then he continues talking about his time there, and he says, when I was there, he discovered that the lake at the center of the island had been filled with an unbelievable number of books. The Oharans had saved all of their knowledge from being destroyed by putting it in a lake. So He says, when I realized, or he says, Ohara had triumphed over the Marines. When I realized that, I couldn't stop myself from crying. And we flash back to Robin's backstory, back to the moment where she has to leave her mom, and Saul kind of takes care of her. And man, I almost bawled at this section. Um, it was absolutely amazing, and dude, like seeing this just makes me cry. Um, but yeah, so we see Robin crying again, which anytime Robin cries, I want to cry, and it just gets into all that. Um, so pretty much everyone else but Robin is or Usopp especially and Nami are like, hey, you got to let us out of here because we don't want to be anywhere near you when this island gets like blown to bits. And so um Robin says, where are the books from the lake now? And the Vegapunk says, I wanted to take them back to Punk Hazard, but if the top brass ever caught wind, it would be over. So instead, he explains that while he was there, he realized that giants were taking the books. And here in this panel, where he says giants, we get the very first look at the face of the original Dr. Vegapunk. This is it, guys. The original Dr. Vegapunk that has been talked about for 1066 chapters is finally being revealed. And not to mention, so a guy standing on the cliff behind him says, it's been a while, Vegapunk. As usual, that head of yours makes you stand out. And we have young Monkey D. Dragon, the father of Luffy, coming in to talk to Vegapunk on Ohara. It's absolutely amazing. And we get to see a full view of the Dr. Vegapunk, which is amazing. Pretty much he is so smart that his head has grown to be 3 times his size. So he's a short man with a gigantic head. Maybe perhaps he's from the same tribe as the guy who was Orochi's leader of the ninjas, the elongated head tribe. Anyways, so we see Dragon and Dr. Vegapunk talking on Ohara and stuff like that, and pretty much this, Dr. Clover or Professor Clover being wiped out was Dragon's inspiration and the beginning of him creating the Revolutionary Army. So Vegapunk says, within a year, he, Emporio Ivankov, and Bartholomew Kuma founded the Revolutionary Army, which continues to shake the world to this day. But yeah, so we are seeing the beginning of the Revolutionary Army, which is so crazy. So Frankie says, my head's gonna blow. Why did Kuma help us? And why did you modify him so much, Vegapunk? Sanji just finding out that Evo was one of the founding members of the revolutionaries. So he says the books from Ohara certainly couldn't be left to be found by the government. So the giants brought them to Elbaf, and there it is. The entire library of Ohara is on Elbaf, which is definitely why it's probably a place where they are going to go eventually, because that is Elbaf is now Robin's destiny. Robin has to go to Elbaf and see this entire library. And Vegapunk says, I went to Elbaf and they allow me to read every single book, and I memorized all of it. It's all locked up inside my head, and I've continued the research. So pretty much Vegapunk has all the secrets of Ohara inside his head, which is pretty much the reason why he is public enemy number one and why they are sending CP0 to get rid of him. So we continue on, and Robin says, that giant captain, he's called Saul, isn't he? And Vegapunk says, he's in hiding now, so I can't confirm anything. And I guess Robin's just happy that he's still alive. And she says, thank you, Dr. Vegapunk. Thank you for not letting Ohara's sacrifice be in vain. Wow. That hit so hard. And Vegapunk says, I try to help progress every I try to help progress every field of thought possible. It's my nature as a scholar. And then their boots, which were locked in place, start moving, and he says, there's something I want to show you. So then we flash over to the junkyard where Jinbei, Luffy, Bonnie, and Chopper have just found this giant mech robot thing that we saw at the end of the last chapter. And they're trying to get it to move, and suddenly it makes a loud noise, and we discover that an old man is halfway stuck inside it, just like Kinemon was halfway stuck inside the dragon. And in fact, Luffy references this and says, there's a guy like Kinemon in here. And apparently this guy is sinking in, and Juribani immediately recognizes him as Vegapunk. So this is the original Vegapunk, which we thought. And he's like, hey, did you know these boots fly? And so in the last panel, we get a view of Luffy, Chopper, and the original Dr. Vegapunk, all just taking off. And it says, Dr. Vegapunk, the man with the biggest brain in the world, leader of the Navy's Special Science Group. And apparently he now has, instead of his big head, he now has an apple stem for the top of his head, which is interesting. But I'm guessing what happens is Vegapunk Shaka, the one that we're seeing, kind of like B.D.A. Law's theory, was brain in a jar, or more accurately, brain in a body. I think that the entire body of Vegapunk Shaka is Vegapunk's brain, and it is pretty much operating that entire body and talking through the mask and stuff like that. And so the original body is here without the brain, or with just enough of the brain to function. But yeah, this is interesting. So super, super exciting chapter. We got a whole bunch of lore. We got pretty much all of the secrets of Ohara in this chapter. Tricks the Anime Hater here, our biggest donator, he says, confirmed Elbaf is next. Yes, definitely confirmed that the Straw Hats are going to Elbaf next, because that is now Robin's destiny, so that she can not only find out all the secrets about Ohara, but so that she can be reunited with Pirate Captain Saul. And Pirate Captain Saul was super awesome, protected her from Aokiji, to be honest. Um, Protected her from Aokiji, and yeah, so really, really cool stuff. Oh, and Dr. Vegapunk, the original Dr. Vegapunk, is revealed. So very, very cool. We've been waiting so many chapters for this, and yeah. Um, Anyways, just so the algorithm likes me, I should let you know that you should subscribe to the AfroX channel. Make sure to hit the bell icon and hit all. We have 345 subscribers on this channel, and we only have a few people watching these live streams, which probably means that you're subscribed, but you don't have the all notification on. And so you're only getting videos that are a little bit relevant. And if you're not that much into anime or you don't watch a lot of anime, that might be why you're not seeing these live streams. So definitely make sure that if you're subscribed, hit the bell icon and hit all notifications. And if you're not subscribed, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. Anyways, that's going to be all on One Piece chapter 1066. And in the words of the great narrator of One Piece, stay tuned for the next piece of One Piece.